And dang, oh, okay. We live, I think. Let me make sure. Oh, dang, and I forgot to do what I normally do. We live, I think. Let me make sure. Yeah, we live. Y'all do me a favor too. Try to share the show. I shared the link earlier, 30 minutes ago. Try to share the show from in a few groups. Um, First I want to say ETM Hotel, Dual Aku, Dual Netcha, Igun Majube Iba E, Igungun Kiki, Igungun, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Iwa Pele. And I should have stressed that. Let me be quiet, but I like to stress that. That means bring forth peace, bring forth good character. So please bring forth good character. In the chat, I want to say Majube Iba E, Odemari, Majube Iba E, Oderan, Majube Iba E, Orishas. Appreciate y'all for tuning in today. My presentation is going to be on the Griots and the Griots and the Griot presentation. I think y'all are going to enjoy this presentation. Before I share my screen, I got brother Eni Sean Calfunny, brother Satepan Ra Mariaman. I got brother T'Challa Bangara and brother Vasa Nicolo Gullah on the platform. Before I get started, do anybody I'm gonna allow y'all to speak if y'all got something to say before I share my screen. And then at any time I'm doing anything, y'all can always stop me and go into whatever y'all want to go into.
Yeah, this is Tap. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody tuning in. If you want to like the show, share the show. Like you say, don't like the show, thumbs down the show. We like to know. And share the show on Facebook. Let them know we live. And tune in. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, just want to say peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody tuning in. All the brothers on the panel. Another evening of, enjoyment. Y'all know Brother Kofi get down. Y'all know how these brothers get down. So like and share the show. And let's sit back and enjoy the ride.
All right. Anybody else? Vasa, Sean?
Black African power.
Peace to everybody on the panel and all the viewers watching in. I'm gonna sit back and go back on mute and enjoy the show myself.
All right. And like I say, anytime while I'm presenting, if y'all want to interject and say anything, man, just stop me, man, and go ahead and please, like Brother Satep said, please like it, thumbs it up, thumbs it down. It don't make a difference either way. Also share the show. Please share the show. I don't have time since I'm presenting to share it to numerous groups. So please share it to the numerous groups and let them know that I'm live. I think a lot of people appreciate this presentation. Go to it.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme picture of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
I'm bridging my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should bring from another hit, I should. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should bring from another hit, I should. I should.
Hey, Sean. Sean. What's a tip? Sean must have walked away.
Yeah.
Hey, can you send the link to brother Sai MK?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, brother Sai MK, he finna share. I mean, he's finna send you the link now to join the panel. How do we get on there?
Hey, I'm doing I'm listening to you, man. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm doing some housework while I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
Let's get into this Griots and Griottes. I need to know what's up.
We finna get into it, man. Make sure you calm that Shih Tzu down. You got over there, your Shih Tzu. There ain't no pitch you got. You got a Shih Tzu over there.
Okay, I bet you won't run up.
Oh shoot. Today's presentation is oral historians, counselors, entertainers, poets, storytellers, dancers, singers, which are some of the many roles in which the griots, and the griottes play. So this presentation is about the griots and the griottes. I think y'all going to enjoy this presentation. And the funny thing about it today, somebody post a information on the griots today, brother Curtis Chambers, peace to brother Curtis Chambers. And I told him I was actually doing a whole presentation and going more into depth about the griots and the griot. He just posted on the griots. And we always talk about the griots, but we never talk about the griots. So the women are griots as well. They are oral historians as well, and they play certain roles as the griots plays as well. Some griots have more roles than the others, but they are very important to the society than women and male. All right, everybody knows this is my saying. As I learn, we all learn. And again, this is the most important saying to me. To me is, the more we learn, the more we expand our minds, we should share that information with the family. I feel like this is the only way that we're able to grow if we share with each other. I always have to put a disclaimer out here before I get started. The disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. And that information provided is for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research or have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation, to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms of use at my own discretion. All trademarks, design rights, copyrights, registered names, models, logos, avatars, sigmas, or marks used or cited by this website or its proper or the properties of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, additions, deletions, or encouraged. All right, let's get into it. First, I'm gonna play a clip by a famous griot. So he's gonna explain what a griot is a little bit with an interview, and after this interview, we'll go into it. I think the interview is only 3 or 4 minutes. He's gonna expound shortly on what a griot and what a griot is, and then I'll jump into the information.
I want to get started off with like a basic question because a lot of after research, a lot of the websites don't really give a concrete definition. So, what is a griot?
Griot is a traditional musician, oral historian, poets, counselors, and entertainer. They were attached to the royal courts to recount the tribal history of African people and also compose commemorative songs and perform on important tribal ceremonies like weddings or naming of a child or ritual circumcision. So the duty of the griot in African society is very important because they tell the people who they are, where they came from, and where they're supposed to head to. The work of the griot is recounting the tribal history of our people. The griot deals with the reality activities that happened within the society in the past. Storyteller deals with the mythology.
So previously you talked about how the old traditions are now unisex. So is there still any differences between female and male griot?
Female griots have a role to play by singing and dancing along the music. So the singing that the female griots do, this is the epic narrative. They recite history of clans or tribes, people, different places, different things happening within the society. Traditionally in Africa, to work as griot or to even become as a griot means you have to be born into the family of griot.
So is it traditional for people to not follow the griot tradition?
The fear my mother used to have was this is a very strong tradition that our people always want to maintain. But what about if this boy go to school, get good education, get good job? He might not want to do this. And then that means his children cannot get it. And if my children don't get it, that means it's gone, it's finished. But my father said to me, good luck to you with the office. But my advice to you is don't throw this instrument away. You should always keep this instrument to yourself. I think my father tried very hard by giving me two professions. Now that I know the secret in the office, maybe I should go back to the griot tradition and see what I can get from there too.
I read that the kora is it like a family tradition in your family? So can you speak more about the kora?
I started to learn how to play this instrument when I was 5 years old. The songs that the griots play with the instrument altogether is 32 songs. These are very important songs that we we want to continue to keep them because they have the history of our people.
But I just want to say thank you because I also wrote this in the article, but I know like a lot of my friends there are like West African descent, and I really like didn't really know like about their history, and like learning about the griot and researching you and Dr. Hale really helped me like learn more about the West African tradition and history. So thank you.
Now we got another griot in the world now.
All right, just I hope y'all was able to hear that. My speaker, I'm quite sure y'all could. My speaker sometimes go in high and then go low, but I think y'all heard it pretty well. Just a little small interview of I can't remember his name, but he's a famous griot, which a griot is also a musician as well as a dancer. We're gonna get into a whole lot of things that y'all might know didn't know that the griot was, but most of us know that the griots are oral historians. They are historians of the societies. They are historians of the clan of their clans. They are historians of their tribes. So but they play many other roles. So we're gonna get into that. So that was just a small synopsis of what a griot was, with the woman role and the man role. So what are oral traditions? Oral traditions are messages that is transmuted orally from one generation to another. The message may be passed down through speech or song, or may take the form of folk tales and fables. And let me stop there. Um, and because traditions is very important. Again, the griots are oral historians. They pass down the society's information from one generation to the next generation, and they do that in many different roles. You know what I'm saying? Most in African cultures, you will see them displaying information in certain roles, for as songs, far as dancing. If you look at a lot of the masquerades in Africa, a lot of stories are being told through the masquerades. A lot of education is being told through um, through the dancing and the masquerading. I talked about this briefly earlier in the Makandi people with the Mpakiko, if I'm saying it right, masquerader who actually assimilate or educated the youth in Tanzania and Mozambique by dancing. You know what I'm saying? But also they use the carving tool. I mean, the uh, figures, they're carved figures that they carve as a teaching method as well. But it is all throughout the traditions on the continent where they teach or they keep their history and teach their history not only through word of mouth, but through singing, through dancing, through drums, and through storytelling. Songs may take the form of folk tales and fables, epic histories and narratives, proverbs and sayings and songs. Oral tradition makes it possible for a society to pass knowledge across generations without writing. They help people make sense of the world and are used to teach children and adults about important aspects of their culture. The art of storytelling, which is also a role of the griots. He is a very skilled storyteller. So their history was also told through storytelling. There is a rich tradition throughout Africa of oral storytelling. Although written history exited for centuries in West Africa, most writings was in Arabic, and the majority of the people did not read or write in Arabic. So the transmission of knowledge, history, and experience in West Africa was mainly through the oral traditions and performance rather than on written text. Oral traditions guide social and human morals, giving people a sense of a place and a purpose. There is often a lesson or a value to instill, and the transmission of wisdom to the children is a community responsibility. Parents, grandparents, and relatives take part in the process of passing down the knowledge of the culture and history. Storytelling provides entertainment, develops the imagination, and teach important lessons about everyday life. A storyteller tools are just words, but gestures, singing, facial expressions, body movements, and acting to make stories memorable and interesting. Sometimes masks and costumes are used to enhance a performance, which I talked about masquerade. That's why on my one of the presentation I did is masquerade, one of the first performance arts. So when we talk about performance arts here, um, that comes from out of Africa when we deal with certain masquerades. Certain people dressed up in costumes, masked, and they did certain things through the masquerade, teaching and educating the societies um, through these different masquerades where the masker wear costumes and masks. All storytellers perform epics that can be hours or even days long that relates history and genealogy, battles, and political uprising of a community. They use riddles, proverbs, and myths to educate and entertain. Storytelling is an important shared event with people sitting together, listening, and even participating in an account of past deeds, beliefs, taboos, and myths. Gifts are well known. Storytellers often repeat the stories with the same words and the same expressions in each performance as they travel. They also add new material to an old story to make it more interesting and meaningful to the different audience. Griots today live in many parts of West Africa and are present among the Mandi people, the Mandinki, the Malinke, the Bambara, etc., the Fube or Fula, the Hassa, the Sanghe, the Tukolire, the Wolof, the Seer, the Matsi, the Dogambi, the Mediterranean Arabs, and many other smaller groups. The word may derive from a French transliteration grito of the Portuguese word grido, or the masculine singular term for servant. Griots are more predominant in the northern portions of West Africa. In African language, griots are referred to by a number of names. The Jali is what they are preferred by in northern Mandi areas, Jali in southern Mandi areas, Guel in Wolof, Gualu in Pulura, which is Fula, and Iguini in Hasaini. Griots form an endormous caste, meaning that most of them only marry fellow griots, and those who are not griots do not typically perform the same functions that the griots perform. What is a griot? Unique to Western African, the griots, or jali as they are called, professions encompass many roles. Griots, pronounced griot, have been referred to as a historian, which most of our people know that when you mention griots or you mention jali, you mention the historians of the society. And they are storytellers. And we're going to get into the other many roles. But there is no real word in English language that includes all of their functions. The traditional griot could do everything from recounting history to compassing music to teaching students to acting as a diplomat. They are genealogists, historians, spokespeople, ambassadors, musicians, teachers, warriors. They are also warriors, interpreters, praise slash singers, masters of ceremonies, advisors, negotiators, mediators. Not every griot does all of these things, but these are all examples of functions of the griot's professions and bodies. So now you know that their griots, the griots and the griots play many other roles besides being the oral historian of the society, the clan, or the tribe, or even a storyteller. They are genealogists, historians, spokespeople. They are ambassadors, musicians, teachers, warriors, interpreters, praise singers, masters of ceremonies, advisors, negotiators, and mediators. These are the many roles that the griots also plays. But all of them do not act in all of these functions of all of these roles. Some act in all of them, some don't. Griots is a social memory of community and the holders of the word. The griot is a keeper of facts and important events of his time. It is his responsibility to pass this knowledge out to the future generation as well as the past time passed down to him by his ancestors. And you can see a griot, you can see one of the griots over here. He has something called the kora. We're going to get into what the kora is. As you saw when I first started the presentation, an interview with one of the famous griots, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name. He let the young lady that was interviewing him play this instrument. This is an instrument that the griots use because remember the griot is also a musician. So there are musical instruments for the griots, certain instruments that the griots play, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. The griots keep records of all the births, deaths, marriages through the generations of the village or the family. Master of oral tradition, the griot plays a key role in West African society. So he also keeps all of the records of every generation dealing with the birth. He keeps a record of every child that is birthed in his society, his clan, or his tribe. He keeps the death records of everyone who has transitioned, has become an ancestor. He also performs certain roles in the marriage ceremonies and etc. Griots have been participating their crafts for hundreds of years. Griots are described as all-seeing, all-knowing eyes of the society. The griots knows everything. There is a spiritual and ethnic dimension to their performance, and it is believed that their special forces are released through the spoken and musical parts of their performance, of parts of their performance. Golly, spitting everywhere. how to become a griot. And you heard the griot explain earlier how you become a griot or a griotis. How to become a griot. Traditional. In order to become a griot, you had to be born into the griot family. So you had to be born, as that famous griot said in the interview earlier, that you had to be born. In order to be a griot, you had to be born into the griot family. And the griots marry other griots. It was an art form passed from father to son, almost like an apprenticeship. Your family would expose you to verbal and musical arts, and you will learn to play the kora, which is this instrument here, which is one of the famous instruments. Most of the time, this is what you will see. You will see the kora in the hands of the griots, but you will see another instrument, which I will talk about, in the hands of the griots. And there are three instruments that you will particularly see. This kora here is one of the famous instruments that you will see all the time, and most of the time as a child. Your father, who is a griot, he will automatically start teaching you at a early age how to play this this instrument. Instruments similar to the harp that is associated with griotism. There are also more formal ways of griot training. Sometimes towns have a central house presided over by a master griot where griots go to learn from each other. Today, there are both private and state-sponsored schools that offer training in griot arts, though these focus more on musicals rather than the verbal aspect of griotism. This has made the profession more accessible to people who are not born into it. So now, in today's time, they are making the griots more accessible to other people. There are schools that has been set up where you can actually go and learn the arts, because being a griot is arts. It's a performance arts. The griots are dancers. The griots are singers. The griots play plethoras of music instruments. The griots are teachers. The griots are master storytellers. So this is a art form. So now they are opening up schools where you don't have to be necessarily born into a griot family to study the griot arts. Another video here, and I can't remember what this is. This might have been, let's see, I can't remember exactly what it is. Yeah, this is the as I said earlier, the you learn how to play the kora and other instruments dealing with the griots at an early age. So here is just another griot is actually teaching his son, who will one day become a griot as well. So he's teaching him at an early age how to play the kora, one of the famous instruments of the griot.
Do for me, I do for you. Yeah.
So that was just again a video showing a griot is teaching his son at an early age that famous instrument that a lot of the griots use. It is also important for a griot to learn by traveling. Young griots visit and learn from master griots in other regions of our countries. Regions or countries. They accompany them to ceremonies where they watch and learn and often assist. Once the talent griots reach a middle age, they become master griots. So they learn more by traveling. So basically, they are like apprentice griots. So they go around learning from other elders until they reach a certain age and has become sufficient and suitable to become a griot. They become master griots, and their chief roles become to train new generations of griots. And here is another famous uh, instrument here that the griots use. Also, we're going to talk about that instrument as well further in the presentation. Brother Vasa, that's where they say something. Brother Vasa, you don't have to ask me in the chat. You on the planner. Go ahead, brother Vasa.
Well, I was asking, is that where? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was asking, is that where the banjo came from? Because I was reading, and it talked about the origins of them coming from a gourd-made instrument in Western Africa. So
Yep.
when I seen it, that's why I was asking, is that possible where the banjo comes from?
Yes, it is. It is, and I'm not going to talk about it in this presentation, but when I get ready to do the instruments in the motherland, I'm gonna go in more in the depth of where some of these instruments birthed other things for us, the guitar, uh, these other harps, that we see today. We don't even know if we look at these harps here, we wouldn't even know. But I mean, it's but I'm gonna do that in the other presentation. But yeah, that's where they say it comes from, the banjo. That's where the information that I got, with the research I did for it is on the instrument. So, because I'm gonna be talking about in the other presentation, I'm gonna be talking about a lot of other instruments, but I'm gonna also bring up in that presentation, I'm gonna bring the kora back up. I'm gonna bring up the other two instruments that I'm gonna show in a few minutes, which I'm gonna go in depth on the kora and those other two instruments. But yeah, you're correct.
Okay, before I go back on mute, that book I referenced in the chat today, it talks about the Gula people and the Black Seminoles coming in, and this book is written from the oral tradition of women, and they mention a song called Awaka, and they began studying that song, and they linked it in to find that song was still sung amongst the Mende people, and there's a ritual to it as well, a funerary rite, and the song is solely sung to make people remember their ancestors. And I'll add that to my little presentation, but I'm gonna go back on mute and let you continue.
All right, yeah, but anytime anyone of y'all on the panel, want to interject and come in and speak, man, go ahead, man. Drop them Jews, man. Did anybody ever get Asar M. Car in here? Was he able to get in?
I'm in the building, family. I was letting you get it in. It's basically it reminds me of the Hemnetcha, because it's the same thing basically, except for the griot is it goes all the way back to Vudan. I got a partner. He made me go grab his books. My brother Kenji or Kenjai. I'm gonna just open this up real quick. He wrote this comic book. You see, the name of the comic company is Griot, and he made a character called Witch Doctor. My partner King, and it's about a voodoo priest who, you know, who works for righteousness like they always do. So yeah, the griot is definitely an important part. The more African minded names come to mind, but yeah, you was going and going, brother. I'm gonna sit back. I'm more silent.
All right. All right. Griots originated in the 13th century in Mandi Empire of Mali. For centuries, they have told and retold the history of the empire, keeping their stories and traditions alive. They tell their stories to music using instruments such as the ingani, the kora, which I showed you. The elder had the ingani in his hand a while ago, almost looked like a little small guitar, banjo or something. The kora or the balafon, which we're gonna talk about all three: the balafon, the kora, and the ingani. In my family, it was the kora. Kora. This is the instrument again. Like I said, most of the times, if you Google search griot, this where you will find many pictures of the griots with this instrument in their hand. But you'll see the balafon and you'll see the ingani as well. But most of the pictures, or you will see, is with the kora. So let's talk a little bit about the kora. Okay, the kora is known in Europe as a West African harp slash lute. Is an instrument exclusive to the hereditary musical lineage of the five principal griots families among the Mande people in West Africa. Although the instruments originated in Guyana, the music is deeply rooted in the history of the ancient Mali, and much of their repertoire dates back to the establishment of the 13th century Malian Empire by Susanian Kente. The kora involves out of its predecessors, the kanting or the ingoni, a five-string lute which dates back to the ancient Egyptian times. A particular features unique to this instrument is a division of the 21 strings into two parallel planes on either side, or raised notches bridges with 11 strings. Oh, my bad. Sorry. With 11 strings on the left and 10 strings on the right. So you have 10 strings on the one side and 11 strings on the other side. A scale and a mode it obtained by plucking the strings alternate with the right and left hand using only the thumbs and the index fingers. The nylon string, formerly of goot, are attached to the wooden neck by adjusting leather tuning rings. So here, like I said, you have 11 strings on one side, 10 on the other sides. You got the hardwood neck at the top, the leather tuning here. You have the playing of strings here, which is the nylon strings. Golly, and I keep clicking the thing. You got the notch bridge here, the horizontal brace, the arch strings at the bottom. So you have the strings, nylon strings at the top connected, then you have the strings at the bottom. The iron ring, the head post, which is this long piece that's connecting all other things. And then you got the sound hole where the actually, once you play it, the sound comes out the hole and the side. And this here is a calabaster gourd. Here, we talked about the calabaster gourds on some of the drum instruments were used for the drum instrument. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more on the balafon. Did I hit play? I'm sorry. Wanted to show you that real quick. The brother going in on the kora. All right, this here is another instrument by the griot. It is called the ingoni, and this is a West African lute. And this is the picture I showed you where I was talking about the where I had the elders, where a lot of the young griots had to go and travel. They got a lot of their experience from traveling to other areas to learn from other griots, and in order for them to become master griots. The conting or the ingoni is a 5-string lute which dates back to the ancient Egyptian times and is also known to the Wolof people in Senegal as the Halim. The various of names related to the very varieties of languages and people among whom the instrument is found. This instrument is the predecessor to the late European lute and guitar in West Africa. Many of the techniques and musical styles intrinsic to this instrument have been subsequently transferred and incorporated into the contemporary guitar musical styles that have unique to West Africa. The body of instruments is made from wood and covered over by cow skin, and the strings are made from nylon, but like the kora, or were formerly of guts. Also, likely the kora, the kanti, and the ingoni was exclusive to the good of the hereditary musicians known as the griots among the Mandi people in West Africa. Most of the earlier pieces from the classical Mandi repertories were originally composed on the kanting or the ingoni or the balafon, West African maraba. Here is another instrument, the balafon. So we talked about the kora, which is one of the famous instruments of the griots. Then you have the second, the igoni, which is this lute, and then you have this other one. These are exclusive to the griots people. These 3 instruments are. The balafon is the next one. And here is a brother here, griot, holding the balafons here, and you have those calabaster gourds at the bottom attached to these strips of wood. The balafon West African maraba dates back to at least the 13th century, around the time of the celebrated Malian Empire, Sudadian Kente, whose exploits the griots continue to sing about this day. The Suadid advisory Zamore Kente was said to possess a huge balafon in his royal secret chambers, and Sadate owned griots. Bala Fasike Kuyate was the first to play it other than the Samore Kente himself, and he said to be the antecedent of the entire griot's hereditary cast to this day. The balafon, like the marabi, consists of wooden panels for each note is held within a wooden frame with a gourd under each. One's different in size relative to the pitch. Yes, and they come in different sizes. The pitch range goes from left to right. Bass trembles according and is played with the 2 treated beaters. The griots. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add something to the image you just showed.
Let me go back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so we obviously see the balafon hanging around the brother's neck, and you kind of see how his arms are positioned. I just wanted to add that you generally don't see this in a lot of performances. On any videos you'll look up with balafon attached to the djembe orchestra. it's usually they sitting down or they have it up on some stands or something. And you might look at the picture and say, duh, but you know, we see this image and this, we might take this away from it. This is our first time looking at this type of information and think that ballophones are, this is how you'll see them. But it take a lot of work, number one, to play that. And two, for him to be doing that and holding that up like that, he's been in the tradition for a long time and he is well trained because even the master ballophone players I've seen don't necessarily stand up and hold it around that as usually done when it's sitting on the floor.
That's a strong brother. For real.
Word.
All right. Now let's get into the griottes. So we know that the griots or the griottes are oral historians, musicians, dancers, storytellers, ambassadors, uh, teachers, and so forth. Now, the griots, both women and men, can be griots. Yet traditional genders bias have delegated female griots or griottes to a lesser known status. Griots are trained in some way, though griots tend to learn more from other women. Traditionally, griots specialize in history conveyed through a spoken word, while griottes focus on praise through song. Griots specialize in singing. So a lot of times you will see the griot, which you see at the bottom here, and the griottes. You will see him playing the kora, one of the griot's instruments, and the griots will be singing. So they will be displaying or conveying the history from the society or telling a story that went on in society in the past through the music and through the singing of the griot. So a lot of times you won't see the griottes with an instrument, but you will see her singing. You will see her dancing. So this is what this slide is talking about. The griot specializes in singing. Often men and women perform together with the griots playing the kora and the griot singing. Traditional women do not play instruments like the kora, but they do play some. I have seen where a woman has a kora and playing a kora. That's why on the front of the first slide, the introductory to the presentation, I have a woman holding a kora, which you won't see that too much. You will always see the men with the instruments, but the woman do, and some society plays instruments. Instruments are like the kora. Hold on, let me go back. Often men perform together with the griots playing in the kora and the griot sings. Traditionally, women do not play instruments like the kora or the drums, but sing instead. Lately, however, differences between men and women griots have begun to blur. Exceptionally talented women can become master griots as well once they reach middle age. The griottes.
hayana ciyar goyde kanan da borcin hijin daga katiyan da hay daga katiyan rota kanda sai aga dam yarsi haydi ka yar koy da masi yar sabu da yar mai haya kurkala borcin tare da yar karcara ga yar wafa ko da borcin tare cicimi yar kaci bibidiyo yoro hima ka karcara ga ka koy tasi an misimi tare diga wafa koy kanda wafa koy di dem di wodi ga ciyar ganda di wanda di wana arhadi wana misagira yar jati kaci bibi yoro hima ka tonton wodi ka tonton gandal misimi tare da bibi tare cicimi yar jati ga hima ka jorko ta wadiranda yar medi yar sumay wura yar sumay jof mero hima ka jorko ta yar medi haydi ka go bibi da borcin tare inda tare haydi ka ga tamma ha ka ga wafa koy ga hima ka da haydi ka cinda yar kuddin cere yar ka nya fofo ko fu bar wo kur hayat na sababu wo kala fefe da yeddin cere yar goyde cere yar kanni ya fo akur ga yesu fay dinga kata wo kuddi ka ha wai ga hudan da cere hadra wa fa kai dam bijai ai ta tamma hadra irin yali ai ta tamma hadra banan da haina hisa kur da na hasara kura sai hisa mari da ka hasara hisa ka ai ta tamma hadra yar koi jati ga hisa ga bara haika yar koi hisa asa hasara abada a hisa ka ben to akuru yar sifai fai bora de kurci nya fo bo
The griot is a female storyteller. She traditionally sings at a ceremony, celebration, and special occasions. When a woman is married, a griot will sing to her to prepare her for her new life. West African women sings about a woman's role in the society and their relationships with the husbands and in-laws. So she's singing, but at the same time she's singing, she's actually teaching them through the singing. You know what I'm saying? In regards of the woman role in a society or the wifely role in a society, as well as you will see on the husband doing the singing. They normally you will see the griots, they are masters of ceremony. So you will see them in these different ceremonies, these marriage ceremonies where they're playing instruments and they are singing and they're educating and teaching about the specific roles and the duties of being married. Griots also sung to express their independence and self-reliance or to give comfort, encouragement, and empower to other women. The Sabai is a long poetic narrative, which they are poets as well, form songs by West African women to reveal the nature and relationships between men and women. Oral history is a form of West African oral traditions. It is the recordings, preservation, and interpretation of historical information based on storytelling, personal experiences, and opinions. It is often takes the form of eyewitness accounts and past events, but can include folklore, myths, songs, and stories passed down over the years by words of mouth. So, and I just want to go back and reiterate, when they're telling stories of past experiences and certain things, a lot of it is eyewitness accounts. And a lot of these stories they implement, you know what I'm saying, in order for people to understand or keep it resonate. That's what we do. We tell things in a form of stories, in the forms of myths, in the forms of songs, in the forms of poets. We can understand it more. You see now we starting to teach our kids, you know what I'm saying, you know, like when I can just speak for myself with my son. My son likes music, so I can teach him his math, or I can teach him certain things when they dealing with stories. I can teach it and rhyme it to him, you know what I'm saying, where it makes sense, and make it rhyme to him and make him understand it more like that through a rhyming, or you know, basing some other information on top of it where he's able to understand it. So we always been doing that, you know, telling stories. Well, getting people to keep the information and remember the information through certain types of myths, songs, poets, or some types of folklores. African fables and folk tales are full of wisdom and generally convey a morals and teachings of lessons. Often these lessons are one of the resourcefulness, independence, and illustrates the rewards of courage. There is a different type of folk tale with fables and talking beasts, stories among most common. African proverbs can convey wisdom, truth, discoveries of ideals, as well as life lessons. Epic narrations of exploits of a hero who really exists and who plays a major role in the people history. Their adventures may have been aggravated to have greatly impact genealogists or the detailed histories of a dynasty or a people. Epic stories is a genealogical or often songs by griots with musical instruments. They can play very detailed and specific, providing historians with numbers, dates, and important names. Songs occupy an important place in Africa oral literature. Songs are present in all moments of life, especially on occasions of a ritual ceremony. So these are the different ways that they was able to convey the information through oral history, through African fables and folk tales, through African proverbs, through epic stories, and through songs where they was able to convey the history and past events that may have occurred, or even dates dealing with people, dates they were born, or dates that people have expired and transition, or important roles that people play in a society. These are the methods that they use. Again, oral history, African fables and folk tales, African proverbs, epic stories, and songs. Storytellers always have messages to pass on at times of celebration. So I thought this was cool because the griots pay are storytellers as well. So this is, this little illustration, you know what I'm saying, of a griot sitting down with the kids, and he actually telling a story to the lit youth. And he has, he has all types of Jew messages. Go ahead, brother.
No, I just was adding, that's from the Kirikou movie, where Kirikou is a young boy who comes out of his mother and runs through a lot of different tales. I got it sitting over here too. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna try and call my partner from Senegal in a few once you get towards the end and see what he can add to the flavor of
yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Get him in here. All right, griots as storytellers. After a good evening meal with the moon shining down and the people might hear the sounds of the drums, a rattle, and a voice that shouts, "Come here, come here." These were the sounds of the griot. When they heard the call, the children knew that they were going to hear a wonderful story with music and dancing and songs. And most of the times, with us telling, giving information on the traditions, you in just about everything that our people do on the continent, the drums are involved. Some type of music instrument is involved. Singing is involved, and dancing is involved. It's just about in everything that they did. Excuse me. Perhaps tonight the story will be about Anansi, the little spider, and brother Benjamin talked about Anansi. The did his Obey presentation. He talks about the spider and how the spider was actually in one of the Disney films, and I can't remember what was the film was on this particular Disney cartoon. But he said they got it from the Anansi story. This spider. Everyone loved Anansi. Anansi could weave the most beautiful webs, and you can hear this story in Ghana as well when we deal with the kente cloth. You know what I'm saying? They said that a lot of these designs come from a spider web. And I talked about that a little bit as well on one of the presentations I did almost a year ago on in about Ghana. He was the one who taught the people of Ghana how to weave the beautiful mud cloth, which I showed you the mud cloth, the different mud cloths, and the different designs on the kente cloth that look like the spider web. The Nasi had a good wife, strong son, and many friends. He got into many of a mess and used his wits and his power to humans to escape. So that was one of the stories that they told, the Anansi spider story. There were other stories that people loved to hear over and over. Some stories was about the history of the tribe. Some were about great wars and battles. Some were about everyday life. There was usually only one storyteller per village. If one village attempted to steal the storyteller from another village, it was cause for war. So they took their storytelling serious. They took it serious. The griots were not the only people who could tell a story. Anyone could shout, "Come here, come here." but the griots was the official storytellers. The village griots did not have to did not have to work the fields. Their jobs was to tell stories well. But you know, there was many roles. There was musicians, there was dance, there was oral historians, there was ambassadors, there was mediators, there was poets. You know, so they served in many roles in a society. 1,000 years later, new stories about new triumphs and new adventures are still being told by the village griots. They continue to play an important role in modern West African societies, but the griots' positions in African societies have changed. These performers are still in great demand to conduct ceremonies and parties, but today they also are popular singers who reinterpret traditional songs and perform on television and radio and record CDs. And that elder brother, that elder griot that I showed you with the young lady interviewing him, I said he was a famous griot. He's a famous singer and famous musician. The griots are often the narrators in African films and explain or comments on the actions or set the stage for tales being told. And I know some of us that looked at some of the African films, you will hear that through some of the movie, it's a narrator. So they're saying some of the narrators in some of the African films are the griots who are telling the story about the movie or things that are finna unfold in the movie. Actions set the stage for the tales being told. Despite the change in their duties, they continue to respect members of the West African culture and provide a strong link to the past. They continue to be historians, genealogists, advisors to nobilities, entertainers, messengers, and praise singers in the community. All right, that concludes my presentation. These are my references that I have. This here is an excellent book to have here, man. If you want more information on the griots, this book, man, I advise everybody to get this book, Griots and Griottes by Thomas A. Hale, which is also Thomas A. Hale is a personal friend of that elder griot that I showed you in the interview. He actually connected, Thomas A. Hale actually connected the young lady with the famous with this famous elder griot. So that's an excellent book to have. Here are some more referencing here. I keep it paused, you know, just for people to go through and vent the information, or just want to take the information and read it and build on the information that I had. Hope everybody appreciated the presentation. I really enjoyed putting this presentation together. I hope you learned something. I hope you know, and now you know that the griots, the griots and the griottes played a major role in society, and they held more than one role as just being an oral historian, but many other important roles in their society, in their clan, or in their tribes. Next week, after the Master Warrior Clan, we've been doing this for the past 2 months. We're trying to keep our word and continue to bring you good works. So we've been doing right after the Dagger Squad, we've been doing the Master Warrior Clan, and now we included the Kofi Piesie TV. So for the past 2 months, it's been the Masi. Few hours later, there have been Kofi Piesie TV. There's been someone presenting on here, whether it was me, whether it was Satepin Ra, whether it was T'Challa, which T'Challa did one on Monday, because we went over the Masi Warrior Clan channel last week. That was a long, exhausting 5-hour show. So we came on Monday and we did a show, which my brother finna do a series of that presentation of reprogramming the African American mind. So be looking forward for another series coming from T'Challa soon. But next up is Brother Vasa Nicolo Gullah. He's going to be presenting next week after Sean present on the Masi Warrior Clan. Then following a few hours after that, Brother Vasa Nicolo Gullah will be doing his presentation, The Dream of an All Black State, which will be October the 3rd. I mean September the 3rd, and then I'll come back the following week and do my presentation on the instruments. And I'll talk a little bit more about the kora, the agani, and the balafon, and we're gonna go into many other uh instruments from all over the continent of Africa. We're not just gonna stay in one region. We're gonna touch each region and give you the meaning behind it, give you a more understanding of the music and how why music is so important to the culture and to the tradition and these as well. So we'll get further uh into that next week. So but be looking for brother Vasa Nicolo's presentation next week. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and supporting the Mossy Warrior Clan channel as well as the Kofi Piesie TV channel. Please go and subscribe to the Seshuma Eye. And I'm gonna get the brothers a time to speak too, because I got Vasa Nicolo Gullah on the panel. I got Asar M. Ka on the panel. I got Eni Haret Sean Calfunny on the panel. I got Satep Ra on the panel. And I got T'Challa on the panel. So I'm gonna get those brothers time to speak to before we get up off of here too. And but please go subscribe to these channels. Please go subscribe to the Seshuma Army Meta Nature, which I am a group of. Satep Ra, who's on the panel, as well as Eni Haret Sean Calfunny. So please go support our channel. We have a lot of content on the channel. The group is like-minded individuals who are aspiring to be scribes. We're studying the Rani Kemet, which is the language, and the writing script, which is the Sesh Meta Nature. Also, please go and subscribe to Kofi Piesie TV. It is the channel that takes the black man, the black woman, and black child Eurocentric mind and Africanize it. Also go and support the Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We've been consistent. We've been coming every week giving you some information. You know what I'm saying? Information after information. So please go and subscribe to that channel. If you hadn't subscribed to that channel, continue support. You know me. Like I say, support. Also support. We got Asar M. Kyle on the panel. So please go support his platform, Hekanu Nature, as well as his Facebook pages is as well. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick and let my brothers talk briefly, and then we'll jump up off here again. If you like the show, please tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend about the show tonight. I hope everyone appreciated me putting together this presentation and disseminating this information on the Griots and Griottes. Hold on one second. I'm trying to stop sharing my screen. All right. So I'm going to open it up real quick. If any one of my brothers want to speak, you know what I'm saying, or expound on the information, you know what I'm saying. I got some heavy hitters on the platform. So, one of y'all, just jump in. I guess everybody got to shut mouth. Don't nobody want to say nothing. Go ahead.
I was wondering if Nancy was gonna come up, and I was gonna ask, how do y'all feel if anybody watched Orlando Jones when he played him in that American God series?
Yeah, he did an excellent job to me, man. He did an excellent job, and I thought I didn't go back. I'm glad I didn't. Brother Ben told me it was just a certain series with certain parts or certain things. I thought it was a whole movie, but just from what I seen, just that part of that documentary or whatever movie or whatever it was. I mean, he did a good job in there. Did a good job in there.
Yeah, I had to buy it. As soon as I seen that snippet, I went and bought the series and sat down and watched it. It's a pretty cool show. But yeah, he definitely stole the whole series from everybody.
Yeah, what's the name of what's the name of it?
It's American Gods. I think Stars put it out. They only did one season. I'm pretty sure they caught a lot of backlash behind their Jesus depictions from Christians. I'm pretty sure that's what slowed it up from coming even further. Not to mention it's centered around a black character finding his godhood, because a lot of people didn't pay no homage to that. but it was really centered around him, unknowing that he was a God figure. But it never reveals it because we didn't get deeper into the series. But yeah, I think it was cool how they showed Anansi in it.
Yeah, I sure forgot about that thing with him till you just mentioned it, man. Cool clip, man. Shoot, somebody find that, man. I'll play it real quick. If somebody can find it and put it up, man, I'll share my screen, or somebody can share their screen and show it real quick. Anybody else?
You just go to the Monster channel, man, and just pull being presentation up. You know, it's how it started.
Oh, sure did. Yeah, yep, sure is. And that's the OB presentation, ain't it, Sean?
Yeah.
Yep, the OB which is a good presentation. So y'all hadn't checked it out, please go check out that presentation on the Monster Warrior Clan channel as well. Anybody else? I'm just trying, before I cut out, I just want to give everybody the opportunity to speak before I shut it off, you know.
What's going on, Chill?
Man, Aki, I'm over here on my man Kofi's show. You know, you from Senegal. You from the cut. Your brothers is from the cut. Right from the gut. He was talking about some of the griots in Senegal, and I know you could share some information about your home country a little bit while we on the show. Can you tell us anything about the griots family?
Okay, I mean the griot is the story. Is basically the library, you know, because the griot, they're the one that usually record all of that happened, and they're the one that passed the tradition from mouth to ear, you know. So the griot is like the historian, you know.
What kind, you know anything about like some of the instruments they play, or some of the instruments that y'all play in Senegal in that fashion?
Yeah, I mean, you got griots in Senegal, Mali, Guinea, Gambia, you know, the griot, you know, they make their own instrument, you know, like the kora, the xylophone, you know, like the djembe, the sabar, the talking drum, all of that is like the griot who makes it. And they the one that play it too. So, you know, the bloodline of griots, some of them, they can chase their roots like 700 years.
Woo!
You know? Yeah. Like they've been doing all these things for all these years. You know?
So that's the history. That's the bloodline in Africa, really. Any griot, any Vudan priest, any hymn chair, anything from back in the day. Ilasar, when you talk about the Maasai clan, have you ever heard a story from a griot, and how did it move you?
Okay, so like being a descendant of king, like there's Griot family that's like tied to our family, so they the one that tell us our history. Like they tell us how our great grandfathers was fighting in battles and like all the different wars that they fought, like, you know, how it used to be, how it used to go down in the old kingdom.
Man, so we get because we live. So my brother Kofi did a presentation, so he can officially be certified right now, and without any question. Jada Jeff Aki, Shukran,
You already know.
Yeah. Any questions from the panel for the brother?
Yeah, I just appreciate, you know, you calling him, you know, and bringing him on, because some of the things that he just said just verified my research about the griot.
I mean, what Griot family he has kept it with?
No, he was doing his research. He researched really well. He didn't do too bad at all. But you should arrange for him to be able to go down there, because a lot of the brothers, a lot of brothers haven't been to Africa. This is my brother from Mississippi. He may not have gone to Africa yet, but you know, for our brothers who are involved with the West Africa real heavy like us, then you know, making that trip is important. And a lot of them haven't made that trip. You just American. You think you're doing it right, but today we solidified clearly the brother was saying what he said correctly. So
yeah. Well, I mean, he did his research. He did a good job, you know. MashaAllah, you know. sometimes your roots will come to you. You know, some brothers are here and their roots go all the way back to Africa, you know, and even they ain't went there physically, spiritually, they done already made that trip.
That's right. You know? That's right. So inshallah, give me just a few. I'm gonna call you right back.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother, too, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate
all right,
you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kafa. So the brother is definitely giving you props for what you said, because everything he said, you said, and he didn't even listen to your show. He just went right off the cusp. So you're definitely official.
Yeah.
And now you gotta pass the Senegal whenever you want to go down there with us.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. That's all. That's beautiful right there, boy. When you could have somebody on the panel that could just make that call one time and put a stamp on everything you just said. You know what I'm saying? So that just go to show y'all, Kofi the truth, man. Kofi the truth, y'all.
I ain't no. Appreciate it. Anybody else, man? Sean, your big mouth ain't said too much enough. You still with that Shih Tzu over there? You got any last words?
Sean, you gonna let him get on your Shih Tzu like that?
Man, he don't want it with this pit bull. He don't want it with this pit bull, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why he talking. You know what I'm saying? Then the dog run up on him, man. He gonna be jumping on top of his cot. You know what I'm saying? Crying, get your dog, man, get your dog. Nah, man, I ain't got nothing to say, man. I'm just trying to get finished with this one for next week. Working on that.
Yeah. But shoot, all right then. Since T'Challa, did you speak? Did you say anything else, man? I'm gonna give you an opportunity to say something else, man, if you hadn't, man, before I cut the show.
No, I enjoyed the show, and you know, it's always a pleasure. Peace to the brother Asar. Peace to everybody on the panel and the chat again for tuning in. Like and share the show, and you know, it was a good show.
All right. Well, family, we finna get on up out of here. I appreciate it. I told y'all I wasn't gonna hold y'all long. A good hour, I said. So we've been in here an hour, a little bit over an hour now, you know, just talking afterwards. And Brother Asar calling one of his brothers over there in the motherland and letting us talk, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man, for tuning back in, man. Because again, like I said, man, your time is valuable, man. And I appreciate you, you spending an hour or 2 hours with us and supporting us with your time. You could be doing anything else, but you decided to tune in, man, and listen to what we got to say, man. So again, man, I just want to say Madupe, man. I want to say Moriwi. I want to say Duau. Man, I really appreciate y'all, man. And again, we'll see y'all next week at the same time, Sunday, 2 p.m. on the Master Warrior Clan channel, which again, any Red Sean California is up next. If you hadn't checked out the presentation from the day, go check out that presentation today. I did Tanzania and Mozambique, the Makandi people, master carvers, and slave resistant tribe. I did that at 2 p.m. on the Master Warrior Clan. So if you hadn't checked it out, go check it out. Share it. Tell a friend. If you hadn't checked out Brother Benjamin Enjoy presentation that he did on the Mossy Saturday, the Rain Queens in South Africa, please go check out that video. That was a nice presentation, and share it. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Again, we're working. We're going to continue to try to bring you good information. And even if you didn't look at the presentation from last week, that 5-hour presentation, which everybody looked at it, just looking at the numbers. If you hadn't looked at it, go look at it. You know what I'm saying? And get an understanding from both perspectives. And man, we out of here, man. Until next time. Again, like I said, we'll see you next week at 2 p.m. on the Master Warrior Clan channel. Then you'll see us at 6 p.m. on the Kofi Piesie TV channel. So if you hadn't subscribed to either one of the channels, please go subscribe to the Mossy right now. and hit the notification bell. If you hadn't subscribed to Kofi Piesie TV, subscribe now and hit the notification bell. And again, I want to say Madupe, Moriwi, and see y'all next time.